Welcome back to Kevin Toll Reads. This is take number 2. Book hauls should be like the easiest thing to do, but sometimes they become really difficult. But last time I did a book haul, you all mentioned that you're interested in kind of like the deals. And so I wanted to kind of set the stage and set the table here. And so I went to 3 different used bookstores that I frequent, one knowing that they had a buy one, get one free event going on. And so I definitely wanted to support them. And then I went to 2 other places and kind of enjoyed poking around, trying to find strategic books, not just grabbing whatever just looks good or because it was a deal. But in totality, what I'm about to show you is I spent $61 in total. And so I got a lot of books. And so I'm eager to share them with you. And we're going to kind of start with some historical fiction. And I know my friend Bing Lamb has talked about this author before. And I saw this the last time I was at this used bookstore, and I checked him out, and I was like, yeah. And I'm glad I waited because they had a buy one, get one free. And so usually what ends up being $1 or $2 a book end up being like $1 to 50 cents a book. And so I was able to pick up, I think there's about 22 books in this series. It's historical fiction, and it's written by Patrick O'Brien. And I think I got 15 of them. And so I picked up all of these. They are the Aubrey and Maturin series. And so I picked up a bunch of them. Obviously, I have a couple here and there that I'm missing, but I've got, books 1, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. I got 15 of the series. And they're all in these really cool kind of trade paperbacks that are from Norton Books. And so they're really cool with really cool covers. Obviously, historical fiction, a lot to do on the high seas. Very cool covers. And I'm very interested. Bing says this guy writes really, really well. And so I was like, yeah, it's buy one, get one free. I had to pull the trigger. And so I picked up all of these at that store. And yeah, I was really happy I did, because this is something I definitely will eventually get my feet wet in, and hopefully I like it. I've heard really good things. And so I'm obviously interested in series. And so I picked that up. Very, very cool pickup. And so let's dive in and talk about some other kind of thriller books I've picked up. I picked up 2 Michael Connelly novels, a Bosch novel, and a Renee Ballard and Harry Bosch novel to add to the ever-growing Bosch collection. And, sometimes when you come across books, I found this in it, in one of the Michael Connelly books, but it's someone's handwritten list of the books kind of at that time. And it looks like at that time they had the different years they were published, the titles of the Bosch books. And on the back, they had a couple. It ends at the drop, and it says on the back, I have 18. And I thought that was just really interesting to find that in someone's little kind of list of the books in there. And then I picked up another Ken Follett. They were $1, buy one, get one free. So I picked up a Ken Follett. I didn't have this. It's Lie Down with Lions. And then I picked up a Joe Pike novel from Robert Cray, The Watchmen. This was buy one, get one kind of deal. So, also I picked up some other kind of thrillers as well. I picked up some Jeffrey Deaver. And as you know, I mentioned on my Why You Should Read Jeffrey Deaver, I talked about some of his first novels being the Rune trilogy, and I had book 1. Well, I found book 2 and 3 in that trilogy, and so that completes it out for me. So I was really happy to pick those up. I also picked up The Sleeping Doll, which I believe is his first book in his Catherine Dance series. And so I picked that up. And then I picked up a standalone book, Garden of Beasts by Jeffrey Deaver. I believe I read this one a long, long time ago. I believe it's kind of World War II-ish in nature, but I will have to, it's been a while and I don't remember it. And then if you saw my, again, Why You Should Read video, I talked about that Jeffrey Deaver was one of like 2 Americans that were kind of tagged or, you know, tapped to do a James Bond novel. And he wrote Carte Blanche. And I was out at one of my used stores and they had a hardback copy of it. So yeah, I definitely bought this. Carte Blanche, 007, written by Jeffrey Deaver, new James Bond novel. Definitely had to pick that up. Yeah, really excited about that. And then I had some other kind of finds out there. One of the Friendship Bookshop at one of the libraries, they had this for a couple dollars, Yellow Face by R.F. Kuang. I mean, it's brand new, trade paperback. I wasn't a fan of Babel by R.F. Kuang, but I've heard some decent things about this one, so I picked it up because it, you know, it's a $16 book. I got it for $2. I had to pick it up. I might get into this at some point, but I'm interested, maybe giving her another chance as an author, and I heard this was a decent one, so we'll see. I picked this up for 50 cents. Catch Me If You Can. It is the actual nonfiction account by Frank W. Abagnale, if that's how you pronounce his name. But I'm interested in this. The movie was interesting. I watched it years ago. But at the same time, I think maybe the book would be better. And so I'm interested. It's nonfiction too. So I definitely wanted to add that to the list. I picked up a Philip Kerr thriller. This is a philosophical investigation. I thought the back was interesting. And so I picked it up. It's like a Penguin kind of edition, really cool kind of edition. And so I picked it up. They had this book as well, Cain by Jose Saramago. I actually sent this to one of my friends. It wasn't his jam, so I apologize for that, James. But I let him know, hey, I picked up a copy as well. It is supposed to be a good read. I believe Jack Yo, one of my subscribers, was like, hey, you should definitely read this. It's really, really good. So I picked up a hardback edition of it. And then I had a couple scores I was really kind of excited about as well. As you know, I'm a Jeffrey Archer fan, and he does write some really interesting short stories. And I found another collection. I found Cat O' Nine Tales and Other Stories. The drawings are by Ronald Searle. I think that's how you pronounce it. But this is very interesting. It has more. This is his 5th collection of irresistible short stories from the master storyteller. Some of the 12 stories were inspired by the 2 years Jeffrey Archer spent in prison. And I thought that was really interesting. It's like brand new, and I got this for $1. And it has these wonderful illustrations throughout it, like these caricatures throughout the book. And I thought that was really cool. And so, yeah, I'm always definitely looking for short stories. And then probably one of the I went to the library north of me, and they have their bookshop that they sell downstairs. We have some great deals depending on different months. They have promotions and sales. And then they also sell some books upstairs where they have library picks they're trying to just unhaul, and they usually sell them for a couple dollars. And I saw this and immediately was like speed walking over to it because I could just tell what the book was based on the author's name at the bottom. But it is Lawrence Block, The Burglar in Short Order. And this is short story tales, including the original short story that kicked off the Bernie Rodenbar series by Lawrence Block. And so I got this for $2. It is brand new. And it has all these different short stories. It has a glossary of all the books Lawrence Block's written. I love Lawrence Block. But yeah, it is all these burglar stories and kind of where they're copyrighted out, where they appeared. Some from Playboy magazine, you know, some in the 70s, some in the 90s and 2000s. And it's just it's a collection of all of the kind of short tales of Bernie Rodenbar outside of the actual books. And so, yeah, $2. I definitely picked that up. Brand new, total score. And so I also picked up, and they had these as well at the Friendship Bookshop. It's one of those kind of nostalgia picks, a YA pick, but I picked up books 1 through 5 of Percy Jackson. They had them in this edition, and so they had the first 5 books in it. And so I picked up these books by Rick Riordan, The Lightning Thief, Sea of Monsters, The Titan's Curse, The Battle of the Labyrinth, and The Last Olympian. Just really cool covers. Obviously, these are YA, but I know a lot of them like, hey, you definitely need to check that out. They're fun reads. And so, yeah, I got them when Tessa saw them. She's like, you got Percy Jackson? I'm like, yeah, I got Percy Jackson. So definitely a score there too. I know she's read the first book, but I definitely have these, and she can always come into the library and grab one at her leisure. So that's really a really cool kind of a family investment. So yeah, you can't go wrong for a couple bucks to get those. And so then I picked up, you know, I'm really excited for the June on the Range this year, and I've been giving it some thought already, even though it's just May, thinking about what books I wanted to read as part of June on the Range. I'm probably going to, Saturday Shorts are going to flip over. I'm going to be doing some different short stories, and I know I have a lot of short stories from Louis L'Amour, but I was interested in picking up some stories from Elmore Leonard, so I picked up this, Elmer Leonard's Complete Western Stories. And so I definitely want to add this to kind of rotation of Saturday Shorts during the month of June, doing some Louis L'Amour short stories, doing some Elmer Leonard short stories. And I know it just sounds really interesting, so I'm glad I picked this up. It's an omnibus collection. Really excited I picked it up. And then I picked up some other Westerns. I picked up at the bookshop at the library. They had for $1 Craig Johnson's Depth of Winter, one of the Walt Longmire books. One of the older gentlemen, they have volunteers that come in and kind of be cashiers at this bookshop. And one of the older gentlemen saw this. He's like, oh, have you read those? I'm like, actually, I haven't yet. I plan on starting soon. And so definitely probably Longmire will be one of those books I read probably in June, but I'll let you know when the TBR comes out. But he was like, hey, I really enjoy them. He's so funny. You know, he's got some humor to him. And so it was interesting in getting this older gentleman's kind of take on it. And so I picked that up. And then on recommendation from my lovely friend Pat at Book Chat with Pat, she was like, hey, I don't know if you know this, but Robert Parker wrote some really good Westerns. And so she's like, I heard the first several are really good. And then I believe they had some other authors come in and write after his death, you know? And so she was like, I can't speak for those, but I heard the first 4 or 5 are really good. And so I picked up the first 4 of these novels from Robert Parker, the Virgil Cole Everett Hitch novels. And so I definitely may be interested in reading that in June as well. But I picked up Appaloosa, Blue-Eyed Devil, Resolution, and Brimstone by Robert B. Parker. I've heard really good things. Obviously, I'm going to trust Pat, her recommendations, but yeah, I picked up those as well. And then I'm a huge fan of crime, noir, old school writers, and so I have been on the lookout for, I'm slowly acquiring the Travis McGee novels by John MacDonald, and I have now, I think I have 3 left, and there's like 22, 23 books in the series, and I have 3 that I don't have after I picked up some of these. And so I picked up Cinnamon Skin by John MacDonald. I picked up The Empty Copper Sea. I mean, look at that cover. Isn't that dope? That is so cool. And then I picked up, and I was really shocked by this, I picked up a couple hardbacks. I picked up The Lonely Silver Rain. And it has a picture of MacDonald on the back. The dust cover's a little beat up, but I couldn't, for a couple bucks, I couldn't help but pick this up. This one was Mylar, and it looks brand new, and I was shocked by it, but it is The Green Ripper by John MacDonald. It has Mylar cover. It's like a library edition, and it's literally like brand new. And there's nothing wrong with this book, you know, and that was a total score as well. But along with the Travis McGee novels, I also noticed they had a couple of other John McDonald novels, and I'm like, yeah, I definitely need to pick those up. I found this gold medal book. It is called Judge Me Not by John McDonald, and it has an early picture of McDonald on the back. I mean, check that out. I thought that was really cool. And then there was this one, which is Where is Janice Gantry? Really cool cover. And then the really kind of funny thing about these is you can always tell how much they've been flipped through. This one is in really good condition. This one obviously has been flipped through quite a bit, but I just really think it's cool that you have that gold medal and then you have a 35-cent up here. Just really cool covers. And then last, but certainly not least, I've been on the lookout. You know, I'm trying to get more into sci-fi, and there is just some epic covers out there. And so I have some sci-fi that I wanted to share with you. I'll start with these. I've been wanting to read this kind of trilogy or series. I don't know much about it, but I got the first 3 books in by Ursula K. Le Guin, A Wizard of Earthsea, The Tombs of Adawan, and The Farthest Shore. Really kind of fun fact, The Farthest Shore, as you can tell, there's like a bookmark in here, and it's like a napkin. Someone uses a bookmark. And, really cool. I picked these up. Total score. Really good condition. Then I was able to find some really cool covers. Whenever there's a doll book, you know, based on checking out Nick at the Book Graveyard, Jake at Pulp Mortem, Tim at Secret Fire Books, whenever I see a doll cover, I go after it. And I saw this doll cover for A.E. Van Vogt, or Voigt, I don't know if it's Vogt maybe. And it is Pendulum. Look at that cover. You got lightsabers, cave kind of people, hoverboards. And then I picked up some other A.E. Van Voigt. I picked up The Universe Maker. This one is called Future Glitter. What I've read about him, he's pretty far out there as a writer. And so these could be interesting, but they're really quick reads. So I'm interested in kind of trying this. This one is The Mind Cage. Check out that cover. And this one happens to actually be a collection of tales, but this is More Than Superhuman. Check that out. And so I had a couple others. I saw this. Anytime I see Heinlein, I'm definitely gravitating towards it. And they had this Heinlein. I thought this was really cool. It is Red Planet by Robert Heinlein. And obviously it's in pretty great shape for an older book. But what was really cool as I started digging into this was I noticed this sticker, because, you know, obviously I like to take stickers off, try not to damage the books. But this one in particular it has this kind of logo and it has a .org website. And so this is Heinlein for Heroes is what it says. For more info about free books for military, email h4h@heinleinsociety.org. And I thought that was really cool. They had this kind of society and they have free books for veterans. And I thought that was really cool. And so I thought that was a really good pickup. And then I picked this up. I think Tim at Secret Fire Books will be really happy about this. But I picked up Michael Moorcock, The Chronicles of Coram. And so it has books 4, 5, and 6, and the Tales of Coram, the Bull and the Spear, the Oak and the Ram, the Sword and the Stallion. Really cool cover there. Obviously, I was like, well, then I need to get books 1 through 3. And I started going on Thrift Books, and I was like, holy cow, what they're wanting for those. I mean, you're actually better off buying the individual books in the newer editions, because if you try to find something old school paperback a collection, or even the individual ones, it's like $50, which is crazy. I found a Pal Anderson out there. I thought this was really cool. The High Crusade by Pal Anderson. You've got a rocket spaceship on a world with knights in armor. I mean, what could go wrong there, huh? Right? Really cool stuff. And then I found two collections. The first one, this is a DAW collection, The Year's Best Horror Stories, Series 5. Oh, that was really cool. And what's interesting in here is I pulled this out. It was used as a bookmark. Read at your own risk. Any 4 books for 10 cents. And on the back, it's like, you know, when you used to buy CDs from that place, you know, you did a subscription and you could get CDs for like 10 cents. But they have books. I mean, look how old that is. Really cool stuff. And then they have, you know, it's got a mail-in kind of thing here. But yeah, really cool that was inside of it. But this is Horror Stories, Series 5. Jerry Scholl, Joseph Brennan, Carl Edward Wagner, Glenn Singer, Warner Munn, Robert Bloch, Tanith Lee, Harlan Ellison, David Drake, Arthur Brian Cover, Robert Edmund Alter, C.L. Grant, Fritz Lieber, and Wade Wellham. So really cool pickup there. And then last, I got Terry Carr's The Best Science Fiction of the Year, #2. And as you can tell on there, a bunch of different authors. Come an omnibus collection of science fiction. Pal Anderson, Ben Bova, Edward Bryant, Gordon Eklund, R.A. Lafferty, Graham Lehman, Naomi Mitchison, Frederick Pohl. Just a bunch of different, and just a really cool kind of collection. And it's in really good shape as well. So, but yeah, that is the haul. This is a longer one, obviously, but I had a lot to show you. But around $61 for everything. Really good deals. Was able to find some really cool sci-fi. And then just branch out historical fiction. I've got some YA fantasy. I've got thrillers. I've got westerns. I've got some old school crime noir. More books in my Travis McGee series. Just a really cool pickup in terms of book haul. I hope you all enjoy this, and I will talk to you all in the next one. Have a great reading week. Thanks.